second hardest job at the place, right?
Deal with customers?
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then there's another level above that, and that's the manager that's in the place. Now let's think about what comes after that, right? You might have a guy named like Glenn that comes to your office every 6 months, and you have to lay out the red carpet for Glenn. Think about what the person above Glenn does. Jerry is the person above Glenn, right?
Okay.
His job is basically going to lunch, right?
Yeah, powerful meetings, shaking hands real hard.
We're gonna go up to the CEO now. The people that sit around a table and who knows what they're doing? Nobody knows what they talk about.
Playing cards.
What connection does that person have to what you do and what the customer gets? It just seems like you could really chop like 5 or 6 levels off of any job and the company would still run perfectly.
Think about your job. Now imagine your manager isn't there. How much smoother would your day run?
I mean, how many of you work a job where you don't even know who the fucking CEO is of the company? That means they're absolutely useless. They're parasites.
They're on the top, getting most of the money, sending their kids to private school, driving the fanciest cars, and they can't make a sandwich. Every new level of hierarchy is more money coming out of your paycheck. Unions are fucking great because it's not HR.
You need solidarity with the other workers. We need to use that and exercise that. You and your other workers are the most important people at that company. I mean, hell, the way I think about it, maybe you don't get a union at all and you just take the whole company away from the bosses, and that's called a co-op.
For the almighty dollar, everyone's a slave. Cause what's the point of doing shit if you ain't getting paid?
Before we commence expelling this ghost from this location, before we save Jake from the lock, I will light the ceremonial herb that will give us the sight, that will give us the power we need to set Jake free. My Twitter's not working out here. Let's see if you can get a ghost. Go ahead and try. I summon the ghost into ghostly ghostness. Come the fuck out if you're a real ghost. Now. Demand it. This is how we fucking hunt ghosts. And as we've pointed out, and as we've said, there are no ghosts. So this is where the ghost lives, from what we know. And he's not home. Let me see, let me try this. Jake, you may overtake my body. I accept you into my heart and soul. Please, if you are here, take control of me. Use me as a vessel. Gross. Nothing. Yeah, no ghosts. So I guess the lesson of Beaver Creek is there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no God, and the Bible is a lie. Off to Helltown to find out what the government's up to in the middle of fucking nowhere, Ohio. Hell yeah, bumping out here. Can I get some of this safety herb in my lungs, please? And thank you, are welcome here. Jake, you can't have any because they drug test. Yeah, if you go to work, man, you're gonna get drug tested. Jake, you son of a bitch! You get out here! Hey, Jake! Ain't coming. He ain't coming because he's afraid of me, Brian Quinby from Street Fight Radio. Brett, would you like a shot at Jake?
Yeah. Hey, Street Fight Radio listeners, welcome to the show. Sunday night, we're taking your calls. That number to dial is 614-655-3887. We want to hear from you, what you do at work, weird dare officer stories, political things, activism, whatever it may be. We want to hear from you what the people out there in Street Fight Land are doing. You can watch the show live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can subscribe as a podcast. That's the way to get what we do. We have bonus content available on patreon.com/streetfightradio, where you can sign up for a once-a-month subscription and get access to zines. You get, what do you get? You get zines, you get videos, you get audio. Every single month, Patreon subscribers get a 20% off code for the Street Fight store. So if there's any shirts or stickers or anything like that, 20% off for all of our Patreon people. So if you're looking at that new Lermworm shirt that we're taking a pre-order on, consider signing up on Patreon to get access to that code. My name is Brett Payne. My co-host is Brian Quinby. We're the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. We're live on WCRS in Columbus, Ohio. And we're here to help party this world into a better place. I think that's the way I think about it.
That's the way so you've got it down to we're going to party this world to a better place.
Yeah, that's the best I got.
I don't think you're going to be on the vanguard.
Probably not.
Me, I think you got to tanks, I guess.
Tanks,
you got to
make
steal
sense.
some of the tanks.
Yeah,
And
okay.
you got to fucking line them up. And then you got to fire them. And I'm not going to tell you at who or what.
Yeah,
But you know who.
sure.
Trump. It's not fair. He's on his way out now. You kick a man while he's losing a bunch of court cases all around the country.
No, you should throw an apple at the back of his head as he walks away.
Just throw pitch quarters at him.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I wish he would get humiliated.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. For a couple days, I was like, this is fun watching him lose all these court cases, you know? It's like getting into it. I was like, I like this. But now it's like every day it goes by, you're kind of like, he might stay the president, you know? And it's like he's not humiliated yet. He's not properly humiliated yet. I think he has to turn into one of his sons for him to be humiliated. Like he needs the Freaky Friday with Eric Trump. And then that's full humiliation. Can we do that? Can we put him and Eric Trump in like the fly machine? And have them switch bodies.
We can put our best Antifa scientists on it.
Yeah. You imagine if he had to be one of his sons? Ugh. Ooh. Bleak life, that is. Bleak life.
Yeah.
The Trump sons. Just looking like, really legitimately looking like Beavis and Butthead.
Too much, yeah.
Too much, like.
An illegal type way.
Could play them. Could play them in the live action movie. Easily. They should. I mean,
yeah, why not?
What else are they doing? I'm just reading this whole article yesterday on CNN about the New York Manhattan social scene.
Okay.
He's going to welcome Ivanka and Jared Kushner back into their good graces. And the whole time reading it, it's like, this is supposed to feel real good to me to read. Like, they're not going to get to be a part of this. They will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the New York social scene isn't going to be like, oh, we don't like these people. They're going to be like, oh, your dad, he's a real son of a bitch, huh? You know, your father-in-law, he's a real this and that. And it's like, you're not like that. You was trying to do the right thing when he was in there.
They'll giggle and laugh it off and just wave it away. Like, oh, gosh, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Let me write this check.
Yeah. I've been watching this weed cooking show where
Okay.
they cook with weed.
Right.
Everything's 2 milligrams. Everything's 2 milligrams THC and 15 milligrams of CBD.
Okay. Everything? Every bite?
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, you can't do a weed cooking show. And I'm going to tell you why you can't do a weed cooking show. 3 courses, 3 competitors, right? So you don't know who's getting you fucked up. You're just sitting there getting fucked up.
Right.
You know?
Right. There's no way to trace it back. You'd have to do it on like separate days.
Exactly. You would, yes. They're doing it like Chopped. It's like, I mean, the weed stuff is like, yeah, you know, But and they're they're like, well, I use some terpenes in here to
Right.
alter the taste a little,
Right.
But it's like 3-course meal, three-course meals. These people probably had 20 milligrams of THC in them, and 200 and maybe 300, 400 milligrams of CBD. So it was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what this all is, man. I would love to have one of these people like make me one meal, like the chef's menu. Like I would love to sit down and do something like that with infused foods and let somebody take me on a ride. But I don't think you can judge that kind of thing. It's just, I don't like it. I've watched like 4 episodes of it, and there's only 10.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me. It's just like, the judges, I don't think really judge it. I think Khalees and this guy named Leather
Okay.
pick the winner,
Sure.
And
You have to. I mean, Leather's probably the expert here, I guess.
he's a chef and journalist. I
Okay.
believe. Leather
Uh-huh.
is his name.
Yeah. Tough name.
And he is loud and he's gregarious, and they all love weed. They're all like doing it because they're like, I want people to understand weed issues and weed stuff. And it's like, I mean, I love weed, so I get it. You want to get that out to people.
And let everybody know how much you loved weed.
Yeah, you want people to try it out and shit.
I think it would be kind of fun, though, to have a show like Celebrity Drinking Party, though, where, like, you just fill them full of, like, high percentage alcohol and watch them act really stupid and drunk.
Dude, I did watch the other night. I was fucking lit up stoned because I've been like eating my regular serving of edibles, and then I have these nighttime edibles that I'm eating before I go to bed, and I'm laying in bed. And you know how if anybody knows this about me, it's Brett. You know how I love that show Moonshiners.
Yeah.
Because when we were on tour, I just would sit and watch Moonshiners for 4 hours a night. A lot of times, they have a moon. They took all the guys from Moonshiners,
Got it.
right? 3 of them, and they made them judges on a show where people make booze.
Okay.
So it's like 3 guys with they start with a still and the same mash. Then they get to sometimes they get to like make a new still, sometimes they get to make a new mash, and then the third time they get a couple days, they come back, they make a signature
Homebrew.
whiskey.
White lightning.
Well, it's they pick, right? So it'll be like, oh, you got to make a fucking rum this week. You got to make this. And there was a guy on there, this like hipster gentrifier guy that was like, oh, I'm really into science and shit. I know about flavors and tastes and this and that. He's just
Right.
going off about fucking palettes and shit. And the other 2 guys are straight hillbillies, just as hillbilly as it comes.
Just
man.
likes to get drunk.
Yeah, they just want to get drunk, and they were like, well, a cool way to get drunk is to make your own stuff that'll
Right.
get you drunk. And this fucking guy was like trying to get the best brew, and he was just drinking and drinking and drinking, and the motherfucker got so drunk on this TV show. He ended up losing.
Yeah.
And he's the one that probably by all accounts should have won. He's got all this fucking, he had like a master's in some kind of chemical engineering or some shit. Like the guy knew things.
Right.
Like he had the ability to make something, and he made something that tastes like shit. And I firmly believe it's because he was too drunk. Mm-hmm. And then the guys were like, can somebody, when the guys from Moonshiners were taste testing it, the guy took a drink and he was like, can somebody hand me a turd so I can get this taste out of my mouth? And then the dude was like, those are the notes I was actually trying to hit. That hit all the notes I was trying to hit. And they were like, well, tastes like shit.
Yeah.
So.
Why do you choose the bad ones?
Thank you. But it is like, it's good to see my boys from Moonshiner. It's good to see Tickle from Moonshiners have something to do.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there's so many people these days, Tickle, Leather, ramrod.
I love Tickle,
head
though.
gasket.
I love Tickle. He's the drunk one that always gets hurt. He's always too drunk and he always gets hurt. And it's just like, Tickle, you fucking rapscallion.
Yeah.
I love that damn show. I watched so much Moonshiners in 2018, 2019 when we were on tour.
I don't remember Moonshiners that
You don't?
No.
I watched a lot of Moonshiners and a lot of Street Racers. The street racing.
Street racing was good.
But like I like the Moonshiners more.
Sure.
They're fucking
They're after your heart.
running around in the woods, fucking making First of all, it's legal. Most of them are making it legally. They just do it out in the woods so they can be like, hey,
Right.
I did it out in the woods.
Old school style.
Yeah. Running from the cops, but with camera guys with them and shit like that.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
it's like a real setup, but they're like real characters, you know.
Sure.
They're like, I knew Popcorn Sutton.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
A lot of them knew Popcorn Sutton. Every one of them were like, I knew Popcorn Sutton. I met him. I trained under him.
Yeah.
There's one guy that is on the show, and he usually just wears overalls, like bib overalls without a shirt, but he puts a shirt on under them for the TV show.
Okay.
But then on one episode, they're like, the judges are going to have a competition with each other, and as soon as he starts making his liquor, he takes his shirt off and puts his...
Pop that shirt off.
Yeah.
This is getting in the way.
So many guys I grew up with would have a time. It's like on the last Basement show, we were listening to Kevin O'Leary talk about how whenever he's talking about money, he puts on a tie.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that whenever they were doing something, they took off their shirt. Wait. We're talking about cars?
Yeah.
Take my shirt off real quick.
Let me get comfortable.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I've never been a take my shirt off in public guy. The only time I ever did it was once or twice in my life, and every time I felt real bad about it, and it was just like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, my shirt doesn't bother me.
No, it never has bothered me either. I don't know why people take their shirts off, you know?
Yeah.
The shirt has never been a thing that's been in my way. It's like, more often than not, my pants are more of a bother for me.
Okay.
I mean, that's where the chafing and all that stuff happens. You know, shirt, nothing. It's just a shirt. It's fine. It just sits there.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But I'm not going to take my pants off in public. That's what I mean by most of the time.
Right. If we're taking off uncomfortable
Clothing.
garments of clothing.
It would be pants. But if you take off your pants, people don't want me to take off my pants.
True.
That's something I know.
True.
People don't want you to take off your pants.
True.
And that's how I feel about taking off your shirt.
Okay.
But if you want to take off your shirt, I don't care. I mean, like I said, I don't care if you're naked, but it's just, you should show the same restraint that I'm showing, I guess, is the way I feel.
Yeah, we all wish we could, but not till we're at home.
Yes. All right. Do you sit around without a shirt on here at home?
Sometimes.
Not me.
If I wake up or when I wake up or out of the shower, maybe, but not usually. I don't
Not
think.
usually.
Sorry, I don't have anything interesting to say.
Tornado warnings in New York City, so
That's neat.
it makes it big news, I guess. So we had the biggest wind of all time today. It was something else. I can't remember the last time it whipped through like it did today, you know? It was like violent wind in a way that there was a point where I said, is this a tornado? Like, is this a small tornado?
Uh-huh.
I've never seen wind picks up, okay?
Yeah.
Like the way I see it, wind starts slow and increases until you're like, fuck, it got windy.
Yeah.
You know, you don't usually know. Today, it was not windy, and then all of a sudden, it was fucking like a punch in the face. I went for a walk. It was mark my word, I've walked during an Arctic polar vortex. I have walked during one of those. Worst walk was today. It was so windy. So fucking windy. There were times where I was like, I think I got to take a break for a minute. It feels like I'm using all my strength to walk.
Yeah, pushing against the wind.
I did 8 miles today because it was just there was so much wind, and it was just like I was in the Ohio chat, and they were like, "Don't get brained by a piece of fucking wood from a tree." So then it's got me thinking about wood from a tree hitting me, but I didn't think that was gonna happen.
Walking helmet. You need to get a walking helmet.
Yeah. Well, I did get weirded out because Brett got me on this Citizen app. It's this app where it tells you what's happening. Basically, the reasons the police have been
Crimes.
called.
Yeah.
And
Emergencies.
yeah, any kind of emergencies. So I got the thing, and it said like, Chambers Road, electrical pole on fire, pole down on 13th Avenue, pole down on 14th Avenue. I got to Dunkin' for my coffee, and the electricity was out, so they gave it to me for free. I don't know why I walked in. I feel bad about the fact that I walked in. But
To a dark ass Dunkin'?
What?
To a dark Dunkin'?
Yeah, but there were people in there working on their computers.
Ah.
So it was just like, well,
You're like, hey, can I bug you for a coffee?
I wanted a coffee, my dude. So I went into the Dunkin' and got my coffee, and I walked out and I was like, I gotta finish this walk, but this wind is my trial for this week is what my hope is. Like, I hope the rest of the week goes by really nicely for me.
Yeah.
Because that wind was I mean, I didn't think we were gonna do the show tonight. I really didn't think you were gonna have power here, because you live in an old-timey neighborhood
Yeah.
where everything's fucking been chewed 8 times by squirrels. I thought the wind was just gonna blow something in half.
Yeah. The trees are gigantic. They were dive bombing the house, like hitting so fucking hard. It was just like, that's dangerous. I wish could that stop, please?
That's gotta suck to be like, this is your first, like, I guess you're coming in, well, no, this is your first year as a homeowner. You get this big wind, and like generally in the past when it was windy like this, you were probably like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
It's wind all day. I'm just gonna watch TV,
Yeah.
And then now you're sitting in your house and you can hear the trees hitting the roof, and you're like, am I gonna have to get a new fucking roof? There were shingles all over the place while I was walking today.
Really?
Oh yeah. The fucking wind was just taking them shingles right off of the houses.
Oof.
Metal coming off the sides of houses, gutters coming off it was.
Yeah, we saw a full like gigantic ash tree, like
Yeah.
fucking 6 feet wide, laying on the street.
Do you know those big orange barriers they use downtown to block off streets, or to use as a highway, or to use as a walkway when the sidewalks close?
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll put a walkway. Big, huge orange barrels that they fill about halfway with water. Those were blown into the middle of the street while I was driving. I went to go get bagels during the storm.
Fun.
And I was driving, and I drove by a car that was completely flipped over, which I was like, I don't know how that happened. And Katie was like, was it like a big truck or something like that? No, it was like a fucking Honda Civic. It was like a regular ass. It was the kind of car where if we were driving it and this wind was hitting, you'd be like, you don't got to worry about anything.
Yeah.
This fucking thing flipped. And everybody, I think, was okay because there was nobody in the car. They were all kind of standing outside of the car. But that fucking thing, seeing a car on its hood is a fucking humbling experience.
Oh, yeah.
To me, you know? And I'm driving. I'm like, all right, I shouldn't be out here. I don't think I should be driving right now. The whole rest of the time I'm driving, I think my car is going to flip. It is hard to stay in your lane. It was that kind today. So fun day.
Yeah,
fun day.
once again, fuck the wind. I guess that's the...
Always hated it. Always hate. People in New York are panicking about this tornado. This is like their first tornado.
Okay.
And they're the most important place. So that's just the thing, you know? Let's take our calls, man. Let's see who we got.
It's time for calls. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
I just heard me.
Oh shit. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is oh shit, hold on. Fucking I had the TV go. Hey, what's up? This is,
Hey, shit, hold
Kyle,
on.
North Carolina. How you guys doing?
Oh, pretty good. How are you, Kyle? What's it like? Is it windy there?
Yeah, it's been a weird week. It's been one of these weeks where like wind, but it just absolutely fucking poured rain one day. Like the bottom completely fell out, and it was just flash floods all day. And the next day it was like sunny and 75.
Oh, I love it. Sunny and 75 though is nice though. If your house isn't flooded.
It is nice. It's just weird. It's just it feels like, you know, with this weird hellscape we've been living in for the last couple weeks since the election, it just feels appropriate that it would just be all hell breaking loose one day, followed by a nice day, and
right?
then we'll have a nice week, and then.
It also seems so unfair for the weather to decide to go off when we're supposed to be staying home. like we're supposed to stay in our houses, and then the weather's like, I'm gonna just go off, maybe knock a few houses down. You know, it's like, well, no, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just cost this family their fucking $2,000 deductible real quick by falling through their fucking roof.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So what's going on?
Yeah, man, it's just been. Oh, you know, just, you know, same old. I think we've all been dealing with the social media hellscape since, you know, 2 weeks ago, and just been navigating that and conversations with friends and family since then, and trying to just navigate all of that. I'm sure you guys have been in similar positions. It's just been, it's weird, man. Like, I was actually downtown in my town grabbing some ice cream with a friend, and I hadn't checked the election results at all, and then like all of a sudden everyone just like, there's like 1,000 people in downtown all of a sudden just like doing the electric slide and fucking throwing Biden-Harris signs everywhere.
Really? We didn't have any kind of
Yeah.
we didn't have huge celebrations. People just kind of drove down the main street honking their horn. We're also in like a massive coronavirus surge, so maybe the Biden supporters. I think Biden supporters are a little more responsible about that stuff than maybe if Trump had won.
Yo, Democrats are fucking terrified of COVID, like absolutely terrified of it, and you know, which I guess is kind of a good thing.
Yeah,
in a way.
It's going to be good.
Passes later. Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, all that aside, I figured I'd call in I called in a couple weeks ago for the first time and shared a work story. I figured I'd call in with another kind of sort of work story thing.
Sweet. What's up?
So I used to, I remember you guys had an episode, I guess it's been about a month or so ago at this point, and you talked about if there were any street fighters who like work sales jobs, and I've actually worked a handful of sales jobs in the past, one of them being selling cars.
Oh, no, Brett hates you. But I would let Brett apologize to you, but he said he won't do it. He's waving me off and saying, no, this guy's a piece of shit and I won't talk to him. It's sickening to me, the way he talked about you car salespeople. It made me mad.
Look. Look, man, but the thing is that I was a car seller. I was a car salesman. This was like the end of 2016, and like I was definitely still just like a lib at that point and had not yet radicalized. So you have to forgive me for my sins of car selling circa 2016.
Can do.
How is the I want to ask how you get paid. What is the pay like in the car salesman world? Like, what kind of paychecks were you bringing in? Like, were you paid every 2 weeks or every week?
Well, it depends. So, like, in North Carolina, there's like, I swear to God, man, there's churches and car dealerships on every fucking corner. Like, they're just everywhere. And it depends. There's different companies that have like conglomerates where. So the company I worked for probably had 30 or 40 dealerships between North Carolina and Virginia. So we were kind of corporate in a weird way, and we like had options for pay structures. They would like start you out on this salary plus commission plan where they would pay you, if you were like a brand new guy, they would pay you $2,000 a month salary, plus they'd give you $100 for every car you sold. And that was like your starting commission.
How many
Now,
cars?
I
how many
worked
cars
for-
do you sell in a week?
It depends, right? So like it depends on you know, are you in a heavily populated town, or are you in a little podunk town? You know, like I was in kind of like a little podunk town that was sort of upper middle class suburban. So like our top dealership would sell like 350 to 400 cars per month. So, you know, you break that down per week, fucking 400 Fords divided by 4.5, you know, you do the math now. But they also had like 50 salesmen there just stepping on top of each other and cutting each other's throats to go and get those cars sold. Like that's the business model.
You might be surprised, but that's what it feels like the salespeople are doing when you show up at a car dealership. Like it feels like.
Trust me, look, dude. Look, so we had a golf cart, right? And we had a golf cart, and the older guys who worked there, because like I was in my early 20s when I did that, and we had some older dudes who were in their like 60s and 70s out there selling cars. And to get across the lot to like snipe people, I could just kind of jog it out. Well, these old dudes would fucking peel out in the golf cart, like, like I'm just gonna golf cart my way over to you and try to sell you this fucking $60,000 Ford F-150, you know.
So you're probably selling
and it was hilarious.
20. You're maybe selling. What we did, like 10 cars a week, probably.
Yeah, well, so our dealership would do like 90 to 100 cars. We do like 90 to 100 cars in a month.
Okay.
And I think we had, how many people did we have on staff? I think we had like a dozen salesmen, you know? So we were like one of the smaller dealerships in our like corporate conglomerate. But,
Nice work.
yeah, and pretty much every fucking thing you've heard about car dealerships and car salesmen, it's like almost all true. Like 98% of what you heard is a fact. You know, like it truly is the business of ripping people off for profit. That is literally what car dealerships do, 110%. Like, so the way, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, what about like the pricing though? Is it made so that they can take the money off and get seal the deal? Because they always do that. Got to talk to my manager thing.
Yes and no. So like new cars, we didn't really make our money on new cars. We made our money on used cars. So like a new car, like let's say someone wanted to come in and buy a Primo Mustang GT, you know, souped up, all power, everything, leather seats, blah blah blah. That's like a $43,000 car, and like we would only mark it up $2,000 or $3,000 above the invoice price, which is like the quote unquote price that we bought it in for.
Got it.
Like on the books. And then, you know, we'd actually end up selling cars like that for below invoice. And then like what happens is the dealership still makes this thing called like the admin fee. I don't know how many people have bought new cars and seen like an admin fee or like a service fee. It's basically just like a $600 to like $800 fee that dealerships tack on. That's just free money for them.
Okay.
Like it means nothing. It's just shit that they tack on. So like even if your deal quote unquote loses $1,000, the company still made $800 on the admin fee. But you probably spent 8 hours of your day with some fucking 55-year-old dickbag who was buying his second penis at the car dealership, and and you made $100 on the deal, and the dealership made thousands. It's insane.
Yeah, that's really...
Yeah, man.
That doesn't sound like... I mean, that's so much work, too. It's so much work. It's such a huge decision. I remember, like, it's a really challenging thing for a lot of people. It's a huge decision. It costs a lot of money. And, I mean, I'm hearing that, like, $100 a car, if, you know... I don't know how many cars you can sell in a day.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what... I mean, if you're selling one car a day...
Yeah.
That's $700 a week. That puts you at 27 every 2.
Well, that's if you work 7 days a week.
True.
So the
That's
thing
true
is that
too. So I would think every 2 weeks you're probably making $1,500. This is my guess.
That's like if you're on the like the salary plan.
But
then if you switch over to the straight commission plan, the thing is that it's,
Don't
at
do
that point it's what's called a fake. No, that's where the money's made. So one of my coworkers, the guy who got me the job there, the reason that I started working there was because he showed me his he didn't show me his check, but he was a pretty trustworthy dude, at least for friends anyway. And he's like, my first month here, I made $14,000. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. You didn't make $14,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And here's how I did it. And he broke it down. He's like, I sold this many cars. There were extra incentives given by Ford for selling these cars. There was a sales competition that I placed first in. I won this contest and this contest. I got referrals, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I cleared $14,000 after taxes this month. And I was like, well, that sounds pretty good. Let me get in on this. Yeah.
Are you good?
Considering that 14,000.
Did you feel like did you feel good at sales? Like, did you feel like you were good at doing sales?
So I was coming in off of a sales job that I was pretty good at, but I was more comfortable with that sales job. I got to this sales job and it was just, okay. So here's the thing. Like I think I was 23 years old, and like when you're 23 years old and you sit down at a table with like a 75-year-old man who's about to buy a $60,000 or $70,000 pickup truck from you. I literally had this old man tell me, he like cut me off mid explanation on something. And he was like, I have bought more cars in my life than you've sold this month. Like, like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is how this is going to go, buddy. So it's one of those things where like, in order to be an effect, like if you're good at sales elsewhere, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a good car salesman. In order to be a good car salesman, you have to learn how to tell people partial truths and be okay with it.
Yeah.
And tell people full on lies constantly and be okay with it. And also sell people shit that they can't afford. Man, you see people's full financial history. They fill out these credit applications. You see how much money they make. You see their credit score, you see their credit history, and like I'll never forget, I sold this one guy a fucking car with an 18% interest rate for 8 years.
God,
like
fucking
that guy. Yeah, it's unreal, dude. It's completely fucking unreal. That guy is still going to be paying that shit off years from now.
It'll break down before he pays it off.
Have to.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, because it's a fucking Ford Focus. But yeah, man, and like, and to top it off, like with my specific car dealership, it sucked because it was very fucking Jesus-y. Like the owner of the conglomerate that I worked for was like this huge fucking Christian Republican type, and like he had all these cheesy commercials on local television with him and his dog sitting by the fireplace, like, this Christmas we will be closed to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and we'll be reopening the following Monday to be back at your service in the community.
That also seems, that seems like there are two businesses that lend themselves to the super Christians: car dealership and trucking company owner. Because you drive on the freeway, every third semi has a Bible verse on the back of it. It's so true. It's the two jobs. That's the two most Christian jobs you can have, except for pastor.
And cars is just something that people are going to constantly be buying and selling and trading, and you can make a lot of money doing it. And then you also get you get this status. You get this local status. Every city in this country has a famous car dealer that they know the jingle, or that comes on TV and gives proclamations, or it's like, I'm not going to try to tell you to buy a car today. I'm going to talk to you about something else. Like they have a public forum.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, well, I think that like looking back on it, in retrospect, I know now that like car dealerships are the production and sales of cars in America is the ultimate testament to U.S. capitalism. It's the ultimate fucking testament to capitalism. Like, you know, what's more fucking gritty than, you know, manufacturing American-made cars and then selling them to poor people that can hardly afford them, but then they have to fucking pay $400 a month for a fucking Focus so they can get to and from their shitty job to pay for their Focus. You know what I mean?
And then, like
what's
you said,
more American than that?
And all that weird financing stuff where it's like we actually sold it for less than it's worth, but we made money on it, actually.
The thing about car dealerships that really make me crazy is when I go to buy a car, I tell them what I want to pay. And they are dead set on making sure I pay $50 to $100 more than.
Oh
that.
yeah.
I think the next time I go, I'm telling them the $100 less price.
Yeah.
Because I fucking, the last guy that sold me a car. Now my grandpa was kind of a what's the ornery redneck guy, right? My grandpa Dick, they called him. But the guy that sold me my car reminded me of my grandpa Dick. So I was like, oh, this guy's so sweet. I'm going to tell him the real price I want to pay and he'll be able to do it. And then he did not do that. He was not my grandpa Dick, I'll tell you that. And he was just kind of like being real nice to my daughter and shit like that. And then got me to pay fucking $50 more than I said. I went in there and said, I want to pay $250 a month for my car. That's my dream, is $250 a month for my car. And I'm paying $350 right now. And forever, too, for 5 years on a used car.
Yeah, it's insane. It's unreal. I know I've been kind of rambling about it already, but just kind of some specifics of my job and like my dealership that I worked at. So I think that literally everybody who worked there was a Trump supporter. Literally everyone. You know, like
I believe that.
I worked there. Oh yeah, I was working there during the 2016 election. You know, like, and then I was working there after Trump got elected. So like my general manager, who was making probably $250,000 a year, if not more, sitting at a desk at a car dealership, big fucking Trump guy. It was insane, man. Like, I think the only person who wasn't was a sales manager who, even though he wasn't a Trump supporter, he was a psychopath. Let me tell you, I have never worked for anyone that was as fucking neurotic and just psychotic as the sales manager at this Ford dealership. Like, he played crazy mind games on the employees and shit. Like, I felt like I worked for goddamn Hannibal Lecter or some shit, man. It was fucking insane. And then he would go do that to customers, but like in a nice way, and then just close the deal on cars left and right. And I'm like, this isn't right. Like, this is immoral. This feels wrong.
Yeah.
You know, something about this doesn't feel right. But yeah, man, it was just like everybody was a Trump supporter, and they always get into these weird political conversations where it was like, you can imagine, it's fucking small town North Carolina, Trump supporter types. You know, they're all just completely, it was all, I was very disillusioned, and it was just insane. I'll never forget this one time that I was dealing with this old white dude. This guy was probably 80 fucking years old, and he had come in a couple times.
Why are you buying a car at that age?
Was looking at.
What are you buying? What are you getting?
Yeah, right.
Why are you taking out a loan at 80 years old? I mean, I guess I'll probably do the same thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, he was going to pay cash. But anyway, he comes in and like, I was kind of, customers like to fucking, you know, they would drag you back and forth, and I would in turn drag them back and forth, and that's just kind of the yin and yang of selling cars, I guess. But like, I was really struggling with this guy. So like, one of my managers, Larry, who was a black dude, came in and like kind of introduced himself, and he's like, you know, it looks like we're kind of taking some time over here. Is there anything I can do to kind of help this process along? Larry was ready to fucking cut him a deal. And then the guy just got really quiet. And then Larry walks off at one point, and then the old man, you know, starts being very racist and using racial slurs and stuff about my Larry, who, by the way, was my favorite of my managers there because he was a cool dude. You know, so like, and then I literally just like walked in and I told our GM, I was like, hey, I'm not going to work with this old man because he's being a racist piece of shit. I personally don't want his money.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not even interested in dealing with this guy. And then like, the GM pulls me outside and like pulls, you know, the other manager, Larry, outside. He's like, let me get this straight. He's being racist. And I was like, yes, Mike, he just dropped the N-word multiple times in conversation. He's like, but is he looking to buy a car today? You know, like, it's just the most fucking, you know, just having to deal with that.
Are we trying
shit,
to end racism or sell cars here? Let me check my to-do list.
yeah, right. It's unreal. It's fucking unreal. You know, and this same guy, I used to watch him out in the fucking parking lot. They would bring the drone out and do these local TV commercials. He'd be like, come on down to the Ford dealership this weekend, $14,995 off MSRP plus $500 Ford loyalty cash for the trade-in. You know, like, it's that same guy. Like, he's that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just fucking crazy to watch. And then I'll never forget, there was a hurricane that was absolutely flooding, like 8 feet of water flooding a town 30 minutes south of us. And we would go to him and say, hey, Mike, this hurricane is literally flooding a town 30 minutes away. What's our plan today? He's like, well, this is great car selling.
It's a mighty fine day to sell a car. Well, thanks for calling, Kyle.
Yeah.
We got other people on the line
man.
we got to get to.
Thanks for calling, though. We really appreciate it. Even after the mean stuff Brett said,
yeah.
it was brave of you to call in, actually.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a good night.
Thanks for entertaining, guys. We'll see you later.
Yeah,
you too.
car dealer. I like
It's such a, I mean, it is such a snaky job. All the people that you can't find a decent one among them. Like,
I mean, yeah, I would say that line where he said, was he trying to buy a car? You know,
Right.
the racism line. That is like what I think of when I think of car dealers.
Right.
And mostly, I think of that a lot of sales.
Sales,
stuff.
all
Was he
sales.
trying to buy
That's sales.
cleaning products? You
right.
know?
Do you think you could earn their business despite the racism?
But, I mean, people have to do that shit.
Oh, all the time. The
People have
most,
to
the
do
most
it.
successful ones do.
And-
The best
but there's
salespeople are
also-
like, oh yeah, and then just start being racist along with them.
But, dude, if you go through...
Okay.
If you go through the newspaper one ads,
Okay, Brian, go ahead.
if you go through the want ads in the newspaper, man, most of the jobs that pay any kind of money are sales jobs that you
I
don't
know.
need a degree for.
Oh, absolutely. It's big money. It's very big money. There's a reason to do it. I mean, yeah, if you... The old sale... When I worked in sales, the old 50, 60-year-old sales guys... Because he's right. Like, no one wants to buy a car from a 23-year-old. I don't... And it's the same with houses, too. Like, you don't... A realtor, a 25-year-old realtor is like... I mean, I don't... Do you even know what a house... Have you ever, like, maintained one before? You know? Like, do you even know what a house is?
Yeah.
You know, you have... And so those seasoned old guys are just the best liars that there are in the world.
Yeah, 40-year-old.
Half truth.
You want to be at least 30. You want to see at least a 30-year-old doing real estate or any kind of sales, you know?
All right, next call. Brian. Jeez.
That wasn't me.
Numbing beef. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, it's me.
Hey, me.
Wait a minute.
This is Salem. I have a little bit of a cautionary tale today
Cool. What's
about
up?
trolling people online,
Oh, no.
particularly the Chud.
Okay, what
A buddy of
happened?
mine actually, a buddy of mine just had to deactivate his Facebook after both his employer and his partner's employer started getting death threats after he made the most obvious joke post of all time, where he said that he was a ballot counter in Michigan County and threw away every Trump ballot that he saw.
Oh, no.
Thousands of them, tens of thousands of them. Yeah.
The Randy G. Dub.
Like immediately on public too, and he's a pretty notorious troll in the area too. So like people already like follow him pretty extensively.
Yeah, Jobs don't like death threats. I do know that about him. Like, if I started getting death threats, Jason,
Yeah.
if you get some death threats sent to me, I'm not going to be happy with you.
Yeah. Well, if you get
No.
death threats sent to me, I'm gonna be not happy with you.
Yeah.
You're already not happy with the smell in the room.
It's not bad.
Thank you.
Your shit doesn't stink.
It does. Yeah. I mean, I try not to troll as much as I used to, and when I do, I try to do it in like a light-hearted way, so that even the people that are getting trolled, they're like, I gotta hand it to you. You got me there. I've had so many.
Most of his are like fart jokes half the time anyway, so it's like he's definitely well within the sphere of absurdity. Like it's amazing that these people even continue to engage with him.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, what kind of a dumbass publicly posts that they're throwing ballots away? How could you can't do that.
Yeah, that's effectively what I told him too. I want to say I think it's going to be a learning experience for him, but knowing him, it's just going to embolden him further later on.
Well, it's an epic
He's just
story.
Try to be smarter about it.
It's a legendary story to tell.
It certainly is.
I know. But I know you guys have other callers, so I'm going to get out of here. Is it cool if I plug stuff real fast?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, I actually just started a podcast of my own last week. Our second episode should be coming out probably Tuesday or Wednesday. It's Rust Belt Radicals. We are based out of Michigan, just for working class stiffs.
Nice.
Yeah, we love that.
All right. Check it out, listeners. Have a good night, Salem.
You too.
Peace.
Yeah, Jake played the game of Facebook posting goes wrong,
Yeah, Facebook's a tough place too, because the stuff that I get into is on Twitter usually, and that's it's a more sophisticated posters a lot of times on Twitter.
Yeah.
And most of the time I try to be funny about it, and then a lot of times they'll be like, haha, you okay.
Yeah.
You got me. And that's what you want to do. Trolling on Facebook is like, that's your real name on there. That's your real family members that are friends with you.
Yeah.
And that's your real, if
There's
your job and all that stuff is tied to that thing, man. And you don't want to fucking rile up some people, because those alt-right people, man, they know how to use the internet.
There's a bunch
shit.
of weird wannabe police on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that are willing to they have nothing else going on in their life, so they're going to take the time out to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But death threats at work that's intense.
That sucks, yeah.
All right, next call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? Hello?
Did we lose somebody? What?
Yeah. Please, let's resuscitate them.
Oh, no. John Tesh moved just from Twitter to Parler?
Really?
Yeah.
I have to go to Parler to get all my John Tesh
If you
news
want,
now.
if you want to read some John Tesh posts, you got to go to Parler for that.
I'm on Parler. I love it. Phil Robertson, the Duck Dynasty dad, is on there, and he shared a meme that said, "Come and take it," and it was a picture of a Thanksgiving turkey. I loved it.
Yeah, I was telling you last night when you told me about that in the car that the Chuds do think they're gonna kick. Wait a minute.
Hello.
I thought there was a little fart in there. I thought somebody called the
Hello.
phone.
Fart
Hello.
back. A little fart
Hey,
back.
are you
Hey.
hearing me?
We can hear you. Yep.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty
Hey.
good.
I love you guys.
Thank you. We
Sorry,
appreciate it.
I wasn't trying to not talk to you. I just didn't hear you because you were turning stuff off.
Oh, we were just filling time, so it's okay. What's going on?
Everything's going pretty good. I'm just kind of drunk. So
We all get that way.
build that in mind, but that's kind of street fight radio, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah. I enjoy drinking.
I don't, but Brett does. So
I like to be drunk.
Yeah, no, Murder Bryden doesn't
he doesn't drink. He doesn't. Murder Bryden is fucking
Bryant.
sober.
Yeah, no, that's all cool. but I had a pretty cool day after I had a really bad breakup that y'all helped me through, and I talked about like last week. And I also have a dog that is being an asshole this
you
week,
know,
but
Brett has a cat that's being an asshole.
Yeah.
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 So I think it's all cool for us to talk.
Well, we have the proper
So
paperwork.
I'll be on. Oh, sorry. Not trying to talk over you.
You're fine.
But
It's okay, buddy.
yeah. So I figure it's cool because we can write it off as y'all doing your paperwork as my dog being a dumb person. And
Yeah.
then your dog, Cat,
Yeah, I'm doing my paperwork right now.
Yeah.
dumb.
We're filling it
I'm
out.
putting some notes in your calling account.
Yeah,
I'm doing
we're
some notes in your
virtually
Brett's cat
figuring
is
this shit out.
Brett's cat is a dumb person. I do agree with that.
Brian's partying.
No, I just mutually agree with Murder Brian a lot
Hey.
of the time.
That makes sense.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
very
I'm
disagreeable.
just gonna-
Brett is a disagreeable human. Somebody's got to
Well,
be the disagreeable one on the
he
show. He's
is
going to
a
say something to hurt your
disagreeable
feelings. soon.
human, but I also want to hug him most of the time.
Yeah,
Good. That's
So
me
I
too,
just
buddy.
want to put that out there.
That's perfect.
I like
When
hugging
you guys
Brett too.
get that out, like when you're touring again, I want to hug.
Yeah, hazmat,
Brett.
hazmat hug.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's a
Hey,
huggable person.
he is. He's hot, actually, compared to me, especially.
Yeah, I usually pick
Oh,
everyone off their feet too. when I hug
Murder
them.
Brian, I want to hug you too, but not in a weird way.
Cool.
You're my buddy.
Good. I love that. I like having buddies, you know?
Sorry, I feel weird about everyone, and I think you understand, Brian.
Brian
Yeah.
feels weird about everyone.
I just don't wanna be mean to anyone
That's how I feel too.
or exactly. And you're all my friends, but I don't want to be mean or gross.
That's
Cool.
Well,
Hey,
appreciate
that's
that.
how I feel too. That's how I feel too.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's our goal. We have a very long queue
Yeah,
though, buddy.
I can
So
shut the
we're
fuck
gonna
up at any point.
yeah, we're gonna go. We have a long queue. Jason, it doesn't smell that bad. But we have a long queue.
Yeah,
so we'll talk
I
to
can
you
just
later,
go
pal.
away.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you too, buddy.
hugs. Have a good one. Let the
Okay.
good times
That was real
roll.
drunk. That was too drunk to call a radio show.
That's-
We almost shouldn't have enabled that.
I can see why you would say that. I mean, that's a not remember it drunk. I think that sounded like to me. That's one where you're like, I don't even know what I
Yeah,
said.
that was sleeping outside drunk, maybe.
Yeah.
That was maybe sleeping in the bathroom drunk, even. Or wherever you fall.
Yeah.
That's putting a pizza in the oven
Oh, yeah.
and then forgetting about it and then waking up the next day and it being like black.
Waking up to a fire alarm.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Yo, talk about a tough act to follow. Yo, guys, it is B. Denny coming at you from Appalachia in the Tennessee Valley. I called a couple months ago. I was talking about my experience with contact tracing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just wanted to call back again and just talk about a couple things with y'all.
Go for it.
Love it.
So, so I just, so last time that we talked, I was doing a lot of contact tracing, and this was about in August. And since then, I have kind of, I stepped back from that just because, if you recall, I was volunteering at the time, And I remember what you guys said about like, you really should be getting paid for that. And I was like, you know what? That's right. And I did my volunteer hours. I got my school credit. But then I was just like, it was like pretty hard on my mental health. So I took a step back, and I've been feeling excellent since then. And so I'm really glad that I, took a step back from that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty stressful. So, so just want to give you an update on that. So thank you all for that.
Hey.
Hey, we'll always be
And
there
then-
to tell you to quit anything you
Well,
need.
yeah.
Once I can tell you to quit before
Yeah.
you even start.
We'll always be
Yeah.
there. We'll always be there to say, hey, take some days. Yeah, you need some days off,
What about me time?
Yeah.
Schedule some me time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're taking a good break for me and Brett, style break, 6 days, right?
You sure?
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna take 6 days
Do
off for Thanksgiving. So
You'll still get a show, though.
There will be a show. Yes, there is a brand new show. You're gonna watch Who Moved My Cheese with us.
It's going to change the Street Fight universe.
Oh,
It will, yeah.
beautiful.
But yeah,
Well,
we're
I'm
gonna
really excited
take.
that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't take our job's so easy. We don't take time off, but it really is like people, leftists in particular, a lot of times because they volunteer and they do activism and a lot of that stuff. Like they really don't take time off. I know leftist type people that fucking take vacations from work to do activism, and
Yeah.
it's like at some point you have to not be doing anything.
Yeah. Like
It's very important.
It's because you care about the. I'm sorry. You care about the mission so much, and you don't want to like let anybody down, and so, and then you can. It's so easy to like get caught up in like focusing on the mission or like, oh, like I'm doing this activism, I'm helping people out.
Yeah.
You can get so caught up in that you don't really look at yourself and be like, holy shit, like I am not sleeping well, I am not eating well. And I really think that leftists really should take some time. I know it's like a cliche thing to say, but like honestly, like taking a step back from stuff, like saying no is a great thing. Honestly.
Yeah, I was.
So-
I agree with you. To me, I guess it kind of just looks like we don't take time off because. In my mind, I don't take time off because it feels too easy to do this. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
we don't need to take days off because it's such an easy thing. But I haven't had since 2018, was it? Or was that 19? We took the 3 weeks off.
Last year.
Okay, we took 3 weeks off last year. But other than that, I've podcasted usually 3 to 4 times a week, every week. And it's like, at some point you start to feel burnout. And like a lot of people don't know the signs of being burnt out because it doesn't manifest as like, oh, I just don't want to go to work. There's like a weird dread before you're about to
it's like
do anything,
You get a stomach ache before you walk into work. You
Yeah.
are on the bus, hoping that something else crashes into the bus and flings you off into the next life. So
You're hoping
it does.
You're hoping you can cancel. Like for me, it's like I hope the other person cancels because I don't think you should cancel stuff, but I hope the other person cancels is like a real prayer that I say to myself a lot of times when I'm supposed to do something.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they cancel.
Eating a few spoonfuls of peanut butter for dinner over the sink.
Yeah.
So that's your fucking thing.
Yeah, and the other thing that also happens though when you burn out is like it affects every other part of your life. Like you become like really bummed out and you feel like there's nothing to look forward to because you know that at the end, or for me it's at the end, but at the beginning of every day it involves going to work. So then people that work for real, like back when I worked a real job, 8 hours a day, like it really felt like, fuck, I go to work in the morning and then I go home and I like prepare for work the next day. And then even on the weekends, I work all day Friday and then try to party. Saturday is the day that I get to do nothing, which means I have to do a lot of stuff. And then Sunday, I'm already having the nerves about Monday. And it was just like, man, I need...
Scary.
Yeah, and there was just so much, even when I would take a vacation a lot of times, I would start to get the nerves earlier, like on Friday, because it was like, oh, I got to go back Friday. What if they fire me right when I come back? Yeah.
Oh, fuck, yeah. No, so I was going to say the thing that really helped me out, practice that really helped me, like, feel better and, like, do, like make me feel, like, relatively normal again, or at least a semblance of good, is smoking weed and going on my bicycle and just like listening to music and enjoying myself at the end of every day. And and that's kind of a bummer too, because it's just like my semester, or well, I've got one more semester of grad school after this. I'm in my master's, and and like there's, you know, being at public health, it's like a lot of jobs drug test, and that is just like, I have no problem with quitting, but it's just like, fuck, man, like,
I want to smoke weed.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, but
there's lots of people that find a way to do it.
Like
you're just going to have like a stronger willpower than than the rest of us. But I would say, I mean, I know lots of people in healthcare that are on the weed regularly. They just know how to space. They know when the tests are coming, and they can stop for a month and then restart after the test. And I don't know. They have more willpower than me.
Yeah.
Well, there's also you can have synthetic piss. You can have they a lot of times will do the hair though.
Yeah.
Just take a Barbie doll's hair with you. You know, just here's hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that, you know what's funny?
That's a good solution.
You know what's funny about what you're saying, though? When I quit the cable job, I smoked weed all day, every day for 6 months when I quit that job, because I didn't have to do anything. There was, when I got injured and I was getting paid, I smoked weed all day, every day for like 6 months, and like felt this like real were
you going on your long walks then? I know you like to go on long walks. Was that like a part of like what you were doing?
No, that's
chilling at home.
And that's like really what the problem ended up being with me, is like, if I sit and smoke weed all day, I'm gonna sit all day and smoke weed. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do anything else. I might go to the movies, but like I found that if I smoke weed, if I put a time on when I can smoke weed, and it's usually like 5 o'clock lately, you know, where it's like, I don't want to smoke. I don't want any weed before 5 o'clock. Then I tend to be a little bit more responsible and use my time better.
Yeah.
Because you have something to look forward to. And it's like, okay, if I just, you know, if I push through, then it's just like, I've got, you know, it's a treat. It's a treat. And, so, those are all good practices. And so mostly what I'm doing just to prepare for that is like going on lots of runs while it's still nice outside, trying to drink a lot of water, and trying to, you know, finish up strong on grad school. So
good luck.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I just want to, you know, wish you all, you know, stay safe, you know, this holiday season, and like, I mean, shit's spiking, as you know. So just, you know, be safe out there.
We are.
I wanted to give a shout out for. Oh yeah, good. I need y'all healthy as possible.
It's just, but trust me, we're doing Thanksgiving together, and
beautiful.
It's just us, not just me and Brett. That would be odd. But our families together, which is a bubble.
That would be so lovely.
No, two people you can't do two people. If I was single and Brett was single, we would not do Thanksgiving together, because I would.
If you're just like live streaming, you two eating a rotisserie chicken together, I mean, that would be, you know.
I think it would work.
It could be an art movie, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing games together anyway with our family. Like, we're all in together, and we're gonna do a fancy Thanksgiving dinner. I'm smoking a turkey breast just for me because nobody else eats meat. But I'm smoking a turkey breast. We might have caviar. That is like our big redneck idea of like we're doing an upscale dinner. So I said we got to get fucking caviar. So I think we're going to get caviar.
Nice.
I've never had it before.
That's awesome.
And what I want to do is I want to get the caviar. I want to eat it and say, "Bah, it tastes like shit."
Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get that video. I imagine everybody.
Yeah.
My wife was talking about it, and she was like, "I wonder if I like it." I'm like, "You're not gonna like it. You don't like olives or anything like that. You don't like anything salty like that."
It's closer to maybe I will like it, and because I like salty shit, you know. My wife might like it, but like your wife and my daughter they're gonna barf. They're gonna probably do that thing where you run in the bathroom and try to scrape your tongue off, you know.
I would probably like it because I like anchovies on my pizza.
Yeah.
So, because I hear it's pretty salty like that. So,
excited. It's exciting.
I've never had it though.
I've never have either. The reason because I came up with the idea to do that because we had said we wanted to do like we're really gonna work hard to cook and make the food like really good and like elevated, as they say. And I said we should get fucking caviar, and Brett was like, "Let's get caviar," and it was just like
nice.
And we both decided to do it, but I don't think any of us are gonna like it. I think
I bet it's pretty good.
What I think is you've had it?
No, but I bet it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna be like, for the caviar tastes like shit. Rich people are dumb.
I'm gonna be sneaking cans of it. I'm gonna be ordering it and having like a secret stash so that my family doesn't know I spent $80 on another tin of caviar.
Yeah, when I started looking at the prices, because you said beluga is the stuff, right? And I was like, well, let's just get some beluga. What's it going to cost? Like $100 for a little tin? And then I Googled it as $2,500 for a small tin. And I was like, nope, we're not getting that.
Have you ever heard of like surströmming? It's like that. I don't think I'm saying it right, but it's that fermented Swedish fish that like
I've heard of it.
Expands the can.
Yeah.
I've heard that's like the smelliest food in the world, but like they eat, like some people eat it. It's like an acquired taste. I don't know if y'all have had it before, but I've heard it's pretty legendary.
No, Brett really liked Malort. So we probably could order some pretty gross shit for Brett to eat, and if he ate it, he'd say it was good.
Yeah, I like gross taste.
That's the thing that's the way Brett describes it is the same way I describe how I like movies. Yeah. It's like I like really bad movies. I like movies that have bad plots, that have bad writing and bad acting. Like that's my shit. That's what I'm into. Specifically, I like big budget blockbusters that go wrong and aren't very good. And
Waterworld and
I've never even watched that. But Brett has said to me multiple times, like, I like stuff that tastes like shit, you know, not like actual shit, but he likes stuff that tastes gross. When he drank Malort, he said he kept drinking it. Like, he took more and more and more and more shots of it, and people were like, "You think this is good?" And he was like, "No,
it's interesting. I like interesting experiences."
They're just like, "What planet are you from?" And they're just like impressed, but a little scared too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up that fish stuff. Maybe we'll have to. I'm not trying it, but you know, Brett might be willing to do it.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I'd love to hear your review of it. Before I gotta head out pretty soon, but I just wanted to say I'm probably gonna post the link to my community bail fund in the group chat, so everybody just take a look at that. It's a great organization. It's called Caleb. And then, let's see, number 2. Let's see, I want to give a shout out to you, Brian, and your Shocktober podcast. I just listened to the Don Imus episode. And I've got to say, it was amazing. And, it's just 2 hours of pure entertainment. And I hate Don Imus. So thank you so much for that.
We all hate Don Imus. I mean, that's a real main thing. Yeah. You know, if the wrap up just went up, and you'll get to hear a little bit of you'll get to hear the Clark Kent call again. That's the winner of shittiest bit I've ever done on Shocktober. Well, Pharmacist still the shittiest, but that Clark Kent call is one of the worst things I've ever listened to.
It was a shameful phony phone call.
Yes.
Shameful.
I like that you say phony phone call.
So,
that's the way I like to say it too. So, you've listened to some shock jocks, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can tell, because only somebody that listened to radio would call it a phony phone call. You know,
Yeah.
like they call them phone pranks or phone scams, but like Howard Stern's like, hey, we got some phony phone calls coming up, and it's like, so
it's just like, yeah.
Well, thanks for calling.
It's a weird phrase.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Thanks for calling in, though. We really appreciate it. It was fun. This stuff that he was talking about is $50 for a can.
What is it?
It's called Surströmming traditional sweet. It's rotten fish.
Yum.
Here it is. I'll read it to you. It is a fermented Baltic sea herring found in the North Sea, and it's herring. Yeah, it's
fermented.
It's just a fermented fish. Just enough salt is used to prevent the raw herring from rotting while allowing it to ferment. A fermentation process of at least 6 months gives the fish its characteristic strong smell and somewhat acidic taste. According to a Japanese study, a newly opened can of Surströmming has one of the most putrid food smells in the world, even stronger than similarly fermented fish dishes such as Korean Hongdo or Japanese kusaya.
Okay, the king of the heinous fish.
It is. It looks really bad in an open can, and it's expensive though. It's like I guess it is a delicacy because it is. It costs like $85 or $50 for a can of it. You want to know how I found it? I said gross, smelly fish from Sweden. That's what I Googled.
Oh, it just looks like little fish.
Yeah,
that's not. Yeah, I can see why that.
It doesn't look appealing. It seems like something you wouldn't.
Yeah,
there's no way you could enjoy that.
I'm never into that. I'm more a fancy boy.
Yeah,
I would rather them just like pull it off a line and throw it on a grill.
But this is a fancy.
Yeah, it is.
This is fancy. People
It's
eat it
fancy.
as a delicacy.
It's a delicacy. You're right.
We should just become a delicacy show where we eat delicacies and say they taste like garbage shit.
That's a great idea. We'll get shark fin soup.
Yeah. Haven't you had that?
No.
No
way.
That's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had none.
I've had
snails.
I had escargot.
Okay, never had that.
Loved it.
Oh, really?
Good.
I like oysters, which isn't like a big, heavy, or mussels. I like any of those shelled mussels.
Yeah.
I like all that stuff, but I don't like any. I don't really eat fish at all, except for I'll
caviar.
I'll do a tuna steak and caviar only because I'm trying it because it feels like something you should try.
Like every rich person,
What?
every successful person should have has caviar at their Thanksgiving, probably.
You think so? Okay,
Yeah.
they might actually just have a little bit there
A
for
little
Thanksgiving.
tin, just a little pinch, you know.
Yeah. We get those. I can get you this. There's an $85 sampler caviar thing that comes with 3 of the bone spoons.
Yeah, the spoons are
and
the cool.
3 tins of it. Because you're not supposed to eat it off a metal spoon.
Yeah, I know. You got to have the little special spoon.
Me and you just fucking scooping it out with a plastic spoon. I'll send you the link I had because that seems like the deal. We can go in half on it.
Okay.
All right, let's do this. Well, now we've talked about it on the show.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, now it's a business write-off. We record a video. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, you got to do it. It's content. You got to spend money on caviar.
Yeah, I mean, content's expensive, man.
It costs a lot to produce content. That's why, putting stuff out is pricey. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, this is Brandon from Baltimore. What's up?
What's up, Brandon? How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm calling in. My neighbor was kind enough to sort of chat room bully Brett into shouting out my book a couple of days ago. So
yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on the show for a sec. Yeah.
It was I was in the Instagram and I was doing Instagram Live and showed the Street Fight bookshelf, and your book, I Got a Monster, was there, and multiple people were like, "Hey, I know that guy. Hey, he's awesome. His dog is cool." Somebody said your dog was cool. Do you have a cool dog?
Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah, that's really nice. That's like such Baltimore stuff where, like a bunch of people show up for someone like me. Yeah, I got a kind of giant dog, so people see me around wandering around my neighborhood. Oh, that's very nice to show off the book, too. I appreciate that. Murder Biden, as that one guy called you.
Oh, Bryden. Murder Biden.
Oh, Bryden.
We can't say that on the show anymore. That's against the law.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're probably scanning for that phrase.
I'm in trouble.
Aren't we all? So you wrote about the Baltimore, it's called I Got a Monster, The Rise and Fall of America's Most Corrupt Police Squad, which is the Baltimore Police Department. I know that flag from anywhere. It's the craziest one. What is, obviously it's about the rise and fall of the Baltimore Police Department, but what is it about? I mean, first of all, I want to go into this by saying, like, this is a police department that has kind of been immortalized in The Wire. That whole show's about it.
Also killed Freddie Gray on the way to the prison.
Yeah, they killed Freddie Gray on the way to the prison.
Yeah, so the book is specifically about these 7 cops that are part of this plainclothes squad of cops. Plainclothes, guys aren't wearing uniforms, they wear the vests and Oakleys and drive around in unmarked cars. Anyway, these 7 dudes were indicted by the feds in 2017 for dealing drugs, stealing from drug dealers, stealing their cash, planting guns, a lot of things like that. And I had been writing about one of these cops along with my co-writer on the book, Baynard, for a couple of years. And then it turned out that this cop was part of this bigger, way crazier cop conspiracy. And so the book's sort of about the last year of these insane cops and all the crazy shit they did. But I hope it kind of is a stand-in for a lot of police departments, because I don't think there's some crazy stuff in the book, but the basis of the book is exactly what police everywhere are doing, which is, running up on people, violating Fourth Amendment rights, and in some ways in this book, Second Amendment rights. They're constantly rolling up on people and searching them for guns and stuff like that. It's really about the last year where they, 3 of them were dealing drugs to different people. They're all kind of constantly robbing people on a nightly basis, and it details that. And then it also kind of deals with the fallout of these cops, which is sort of thousands and thousands of people that were jammed up in the prisons because of these dirty cops, sort of slowly but steadily, some of them getting out.
Wow. And so how did they get caught? And just also, to add, I mean, this sounds like LA had one of these inner office hit gangs, and Baltimore is not the biggest city in the country. So I'm sure this is happening in plenty of other places.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually, we were joking about the rise of America's most corrupt police squad, because obviously kind of mean United States of America, because I'm sure the global South is having has worse police squads. But then also, since the book has come out, there's LA sheriffs that are basically a gang. And that's sort of what these dudes were charged with, which is what really excited me about the book, is because if you know why there are problems with police, or why we just shouldn't have police, you understand it's because they operate like a gang. And this was kind of funny because it's like the federal government indicting these dudes and saying, hey, these police are acting like a gang. And, like a gang, like a conspiracy, like what you would charge, supposedly like a mafia or a gang of drug dealers for. They need like an enterprise, a criminal enterprise. And what's kind of cool about the story is that the feds frame the Baltimore Police Department as the criminal enterprise. Then there's a conspiracy within it. And the way they got caught was kind of typical drug war shit, though, because one of the cops was helping a bunch of heroin dealers deal heroin. The feds were investigating the heroin dealers, mostly because they were dealing dope to like white folks that were coming in from the county. And so they started investigating these black drug dealers, and then they heard on one of the lines them talking to a cop who was giving them information about how to take a tracker off their car. So then the investigation got bigger and involved dirty cops, but it started as a drug investigation like a lot of stuff does, and the feds kind of fell into it and then got some bugs and some wiretaps on these cops and heard some really crazy stuff like causing car accidents and not helping, constantly planning robberies and things like that. And yeah, it's a pretty crazy story, but I always try to stress again, like, it's exceptionally dirty cops, and it kind of makes, in a way, like, I think The Wire is kind of, in some ways, it's a masterful show, but it's kind of too kind to the police department. And this kind of story really undoes any myth you might have that police are in any way trying to help or shouldn't be, completely disbanded immediately.
Well, and it's so easy for somebody to come in and use those rules to their own benefit. I mean, shit, as soon as I got keys at my cash register jobs, I used them for my own gain. And when the cops are able to act without impunity and it's blue lives matter no matter what, like, they're going to take advantage of that. Columbus has a horrible police force that sets all kinds of records for badness. And there was a recent article about, the chief literally, using the N-word and calling black officers monkey and shit. And so it's like everywhere you go, we find evidence of this. We can't convince. I don't know how we convince everybody that what is happening is real, because, it seems like fiction. It seems like you said The Wire to a lot of us is like, oh, that's just entertainment. But the real stuff that's happening is terrifying, and it's ruining people's lives. Thousands of people that got set up by these police because of their fucked up way of doing things.
Yeah, and like the thing you mentioned, Freddie Gray, which I really appreciate. For listeners that maybe don't remember well, in April of 2015, a young black man named Freddie Gray was chased by Baltimore police, thrown into a police van, suffered an injury that he later died from, and kind of kicked off in Baltimore an uprising less than a year after Ferguson. So kind of a really powerful moment. And what these cops did, which I think is where the sort of what I've been yelling about to a lot of people lately, is what these cops really used is that moment of uprising to sort of take control and punish the citizens for uprising. Like, this idea was like, okay, the CVS in Baltimore burned, and we got to get a hold of the people in this city. And it really allowed these cops to run wilder and arrest people and violate more people's rights, and a lot of people in charge to look the other way, because it's this kind of idea that I think we're seeing a lot. And a lot of these kind of like Vox or Atlantic bros are talking about all these concerns about defunding the police and how it's such a problem, but like and how reform is the answer. But like, Baltimore was absolutely obsessed with reform after Freddie Gray's death. The DOJ was here investigating the police and all these things, and it didn't lead anywhere, in part because the cops use these like really basic reforms like body cameras, or I don't know, maybe they we should be able to see their internal affairs files. They really use that to act really embattled and sort of claim, if we gotta police this way, we just can't police. And then what you see is people arguing this stuff like, we can't upset the police too much. Like, we gotta treat these guys with like kid gloves. And what I try to show in the book is how the department and all may have been whining about, now we have to, police constitutionally, but they really use this to, it scares politicians when the citizenry starts saying, like, we need to change the police, and they kind of use that and leverage it against the city to really do a lot of terrible stuff and dodge reforms. I mean, some of the stuff you see in the book is like, and I bring this up because obviously I'm trying to promote a book here, but also because it's like really what policing is doing, where you use body cameras against people. They would fake body camera footage. So then it was like they were using the tools of reform to further rob people and things like. There's a lot of stories like that, and they were using also this sense that we need to sort of make sure the city doesn't look bad. It doesn't become the burning CVS. Maybe all y'all remember in Baltimore. We don't want that to happen again. If that means sending like meathead cops into communities and arresting everybody, then so be it. And if they happen to be robbing everybody while they're arresting them, well, we'll just look the other way. And that's what these cops did, especially in this time period. But they have been doing it for almost a decade at this point. It's really a good example to me. Like, it's a really good case study on like what happens when we like cater to cops like this. I mean, something I've really been saying lately is like cops are basically a special interest group, and Joe Biden, I think, especially seems to misunderstand that and still think cops are like public servants the way like garbage men are. And Trump sort of masterfully understood that this was just like a special interest group. Give them what they want to do, let them do whatever they want, and tell them what they want to hear. And Biden still, I think, has this illusion that you can sort of talk to the police and reform them from within. They really want to do a good job, but they don't. They want to rob people. They want to violate your rights.
Yeah, I mean, it attracts a certain personality, and that's not somebody that wants to walk up and down the street and whistling while they hold a baton, you know, to chase after anybody that tries to nick a piece of candy, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a thing that's really funny to me in a really frustrating way, is like whether it's liberals or whoever sort of saying, hey, you know, we need to give police more money to do a better job. And it's like, what people think of as policing as nothing, like this vision of some cop. It's like, hey kid, your cat's stuck in the tree, I'll climb and get it. Like, no, if you give cops money, they spend it on gear and they spend it on stuff to surveil you, and they spend it on more sort of plainclothes cops or jump out boys like knockers that are going to like terrorize communities, especially in Baltimore black communities. That's always what they're going to use their money for. They're going to use it to I don't know, they'll do these sensitivity training kind of games to shut politicians up, but there's no interest in reform. If Baltimore couldn't sort of do this, and in fact had a criminal conspiracy operating within its department in the aftermath of Freddie Gray, I find it really hard to imagine other departments that reform is in any way a possibility. Like, I'm looking at Columbus, Ohio, and I guess y'all spend about $361 million a year on your police department. It's almost 40% of your city's budget. Like, that shit's insane. Like, in Baltimore, it's a $550 million a year police department. Like, we're just dumping all this money into departments for no reason, and then they just spend that money to arrest people and shoot them. It's completely nuts.
They don't even really nothing happens. I mean, it's hard I'm trying to phrase this in a way that's like not letting them off the hook, but like when they fuck up, which I don't believe is fuck up. You brought up jump out boys, right? Is that the right term?
Yeah.
We had a big thing.
Henry Green.
We had a big thing here. Henry Green's name is still written on a lot of the stuff from the summer. Like we've been fighting to get that policing program stopped since, it's like 3 or 4 years now, and they haven't done anything. The Democratic mayor of Columbus expanded it to like a year-round program. So like even when they fuck up, it doesn't affect them at all. They did nothing happens to them ever. They are a totally unaccountable group of people, and they're the only totally unaccountable group of people in the street.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've really realized, like, in reporting the book out more, like, or having the feeling I have a little authority and not just another anarchist yelling about this, but doing the reporting at least, and being like, I realize, like, crime is really good for cops. Like, it's great for them. It's how they get more money. Somehow, inexplicably, if there's more crime in your city, the cops say, hey, we need more money to stop it. You're never like, so we give you 40% of our budget. You still can't like do anything about it. Right. Maybe y'all are the problem. Like, it's never seen that way. It's good. And then what they get to do, which I see in Baltimore too, is you get to be like, look, we understand our department had some problems, you know, and they kind of make these gestures towards adjusting plainclothes units like the jump out boys, but then they really then use that moment where they finally for once in their life get caught they get caught for doing something wrong. They kind of use that and twist it and be like, oh, we've learned from that and now we're going to do it totally different. But then they don't do anything different, and the main argument they do is they say they need more money. Like, that's always what it comes down to, is give them more money, give them more cops, and then they'll do a better job. And then they never do. They really extort the population, and they leverage violence. Like, that's the biggest thing. You see this in cities now where, like, if these people are going to be out in the streets protesting, we'll just stop doing our job. And it's like, well, okay, great. Please stop doing your job. Sit in your car all day. There's also no evidence that when cops slow down, that affects crime either, because cops don't have any actual effect on crime. There's not a lot of evidence that cops, actually stop crime ever.
Yeah, and like you said, the money we give them goes to proactive policing, which just means they get more hours to go harass people or more advanced gear to target black communities. They could go to the suburbs and get all the drugs that they want, but that's not what they're looking for. That's not the results that anybody wants. So they end up just patrolling these specific neighborhoods and hoping that the crime comes back so that they can do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And what you see too in Baltimore is kind of another way this reform, this like liberal reform, has happened that I imagine is happening in other cities. There to be all this talk about like, oh, we need to stop the war on drugs. And then what Baltimore sort of did with its police department and what this squad that I write about, because they're gun cops, is they just shift it to a war on guns, which at first you're like, okay, well, guns harm people in a way that drugs don't. That sounds good. But then you realize like they just use guns to do all the same stuff to people they were used to do with drugs. Like you can't really extract that from these plainclothes units. Their job, as you said, proactive policing, is to find crime and look for crime. They don't answer calls. They don't work to solve homicides. They don't get cats out of trees. If you want to even believe that we should have cops to do that, these cops don't do that. They just throw people up against the wall and search them and harass them and often rob them and steal from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
That's Brandon Soderberg. He wrote, I Got a Monster, The Rise and Fall of America's Most Corrupt Police Squad. And
got a monster?
you should get it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
I got a monster. I thought, okay, I got it
Yeah,
wrong.
man.
Yeah, I got a monster.
I got a monster.
All right. Have a good night. All
Peace.
right. We're going to take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
I think. And then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up the show.
Tonight.
Well, not wrap it up. We're going to take the rest of the calls.
We got a good music from a listener that I love, that I'm glad to see is doing better, that sent a message. This is the band It's Embarrassing. You can find them at itsembarrassing.bandcamp.com. This album is called Tough Guy, and we'll be back. We're Street Fight. Peace. All right, guys. Hey everybody, welcome back to Street Fight Radio. Hope you enjoyed the music. That was It's Embarrassing. You can find them at itsembarrassing.bandcamp.com. The album is called Tough Guy. They're listeners, been to our show a couple times. Really good energy, lots of fun. I bet they do a killer show. So follow them on Bandcamp, send them some love, and buy their stuff. Let's get this next call. Well, let's wait for Brian. Street Fight Radio right now, we are working on a couple of zines. We've got the Activism zine and the Alcohol zine pretty much ready to go. If you're a writer or artist and you want to do submissions for the zine, head to streetfightradio.com. At the top, there is a link that says zine submission. Right now, we're looking to put together the being an outsider and staying inside. Two separate zines. So if you're an outsider or if you stay inside, tell us what you want to do. We'll look at the pitch and get back to you. And if you want to read the zine, head to streetfightradio.com. No, head to patreon.com/streetfightradio. You can get digital copies of the zine for a $3 a month subscription, or you can get everything we do digitally for $8 a month. That's the video, the audio, and the zine for $8 a month. You ready to take these calls, Brian?
Yep.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hello. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Great. This is Theo from Minneapolis, the Cis General of the Shadow Nation.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
What's up, Theo?
I just wanted to give you a little report on Minneapolis since, all this hubbub started.
Yeah, sure. What's going on?
Well, see, I live in northeast Minneapolis, right next to the police union, across the freeway from the pedestrian bridge. And the thing that's really interesting to me is that everybody's taking a knee in front of the police union when you can just go around the back and the gate's not even locked. It's weird.
It's good info.
It's very weird. But I also wanted to talk, I know we're past Halloween, but I wanted to mention the most crazy secret occult thing in Minnesota that I've ever seen. Hopefully the anti-fascist super soldiers listening can take note.
Okay. What is it?
Okay, so I was in a mental hospital locked down, and I got sent to this rehab, Beauterre, in Owatonna, Minnesota. They sent me back to the hospital, but then the hospital let me go because they're not crazy. So I'm so fed up at this point of being carted around. I just walk directly into Owatonna, Minnesota. I meet up with this lady. She wants to bang and hang out and chill. She's way cool. Anyways, fast forward, I'm hanging out with her for 2 days. I'm walking back to her house with her, and out of the shadows come 7 people in a V formation wearing complete black hoods, really, really pointy, this was super KKK pointy shit, walking in complete darkness, and then they jumped into a sewer. And I swear to gosh, I saw that. Isn't that trippy?
Yeah. That is definitely where maybe you saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sounds like the Foot Clan.
Yeah. I'm Raphael when it comes to that, dude. That was I actually cracked a joke when I saw him. I was like, Napoleon does not bow to men in robes. And they chuckled. So that's kind of weird.
That's wild. I don't know. I mean, I used to go down in the sewer when I was a kid.
Go ahead.
I used to go down in the sewer sometimes when I was a kid. So maybe it was some kids playing in the sewers.
Well, no, exactly. I found out later that there's actually a fraternal order of garbage workers that have this little statue of this black pointed thing. So I don't know.
Oh,
trippy, dude.
Yeah, that is weird.
But yeah, I just wanted to say, Midwest Unity. I love the show. I listen to you guys all the time while I'm working in my truck. It's nice to hear some a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. It's nice to hear from you too. It's nice to hear from somebody from the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was looking before I got on the phone with you guys. There are no Indian reservations in Ohio. Is that correct?
I don't know for sure, but I mean, there were never casinos here until they legalized them for anybody to have. I don't think there are any reservations here at all. I'm fairly certain of that because I've never heard of them being. I always found it odd when people talked about going to reservations when I was growing up because I had no idea that they, I can't conceptualize even what they are or what they look like. So no, for sure we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Shawnee are from Ohio.
Yes.
I did a Google search, so what they tell me,
Yes, they are. They are.
That's cool.
We have like these mounds here. I don't know who did them, but there are these mounds that everybody's parents takes them to when they're growing up to see the mounds.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in Minnesota, there's a large Lahota tradition because, of course, there was the quote-unquote Sioux, which is kind of a bad word, the Sioux Uprising, which very much informed Minnesota politics post 19th century. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
You guys ever hear about that? The Great Sioux Uprising?
No idea. We're really bad when it comes to history. Believe me.
Cool. Well, listeners, just Google that shit. It's pretty interesting. People just had enough, and it was a huge war here. A huge war.
Sweet. Yeah. We'll have to look into that.
But yeah. I just got out of the psych ward like 4 days ago, so I'm just trying to deal with the trauma. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
I find it very. I like that you guys. Who's on Abilify? Is that Brett or is that?
That's me. That's Brian.
Who said that?
Brian.
Brian, you like it?
I can't tell really. I mean, I did at first, but then I don't know. I mean, I feel like I am in a better mood, so that has helped.
Does it give you tremors?
No, it doesn't.
It gave me tremors.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Zyprexa and Lunesta guy. Those are my kind of combinations for mental security, if you will.
I'm on sertraline and Abilify and Seroquel and that's all of them, I think. Gabapentin.
That's not bad. Oh yeah, gabapentin's nice.
Yeah,
The second generation
helps me sleep.
antipsychotics are a lot better than like Thorazine and Haldol. That shit was nuts.
Yeah.
I got to call in sometime and read you like this is what the doctors wrote about me. Apparently I have antisocial disorder now. That sounds pretty tight. It sounds pretty punk rock. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that people would brag about at times, but I mean, to get out of going to things and stuff. But yeah. I mean, well, good luck healing from your time.
Luck, man. And
That's
I keep listening.
Hell yeah.
And
thank you.
Christian anarchists listen to you guys, and we're all about it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's great.
Well, thanks for calling in.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Did you say Christian anarchists?
I think so.
Oh wow. I don't ever feel like, because I'm always like, well, I did Holy Boys, and I always feel like I go too hard on them sometimes. So
yeah,
it's good to hear that people don't get mad. I guess it's the same thing as the troops too. We have a lot of troops that listen to the show, and we sometimes go off on them a little bit. So yeah, that's nice.
I think the ones that can hear through that know what's going on.
Yeah, take a joke.
I mean, there's times also, not that I'm in any really group, but there's times that I get made fun of on stuff from people that I like on shows, and it's like, that's fine. It doesn't bother. I'm like, I'm an adult listener. I'm not looking to you to tell me how the world is. I'm looking to just have entertainment,
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same place. People make fun of a lot of stuff that I'm into, and I'm just like, it's fine.
All
whatever.
right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Is this me?
Yep, this is you.
Hey, it's Gerard. I'm also from Minneapolis here.
Oh, what's up, Gerard? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been listening to you guys for a couple years, and wow, it's cool to be on here. I got 2 stories. I don't need to tell them both, so pick one of the other. I got a work story or a dare story.
Man, that's a tough choice to make. Maybe we'll do both.
I feel like it's been a while since I've heard a dare story, so I kind of want to tell the dare story.
Let's hear this dare story.
All right, here we go. It's not technically dare, but it was sophomore year of high school. We have a health class, and because it's health class, of course, we had to say, let's bring the school cop in to teach the drug unit because he was obviously extremely qualified.
They're not.
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous.
Cops are the least qualified to do that job, I think. I can't think of anybody that knows less about drugs than a cop. Maybe a child, but yeah.
Well, I was a child, and as will become apparent, I knew more about drugs than this man.
Okay.
But so it was like our health teacher was this old man who liked to make jokes about beating people up by the flagpole.
Okay.
And so the drug part of the health class came around, and he was like, "Yo, we're bringing in the school cop." Okay. The school cop. There's so many anecdotes. He was telling us about how dangerous acid was.
Okay.
And he said if you eat some acid, like they come on little blotter papers, and you will turn into what's on the little blotter paper. And so if there's a school bus on there, you're going to start freaking out and thinking you're a school bus going down the highway. And I had eaten acid at this point, and I was like, that sounds all right.
Right. He starts telling you.
Kind of fun.
Sounds better than your experience.
Yeah, no, I was like, yo, what I ate was a blank white little tab, and I just kind of experienced some nothingness. So I guess.
Yeah, that's how I felt when they taught us about LSD in 8th grade, because they refresh your drug knowledge through your time in high school. They usually give it to you in 3rd or 4th grade, then 5th or 6th grade, then 8th and 9th grade, and then sometime around 11th and 12th grade. And I remember being in 8th grade, I'd already done acid, and they were telling me what acid did, and I was like, that ain't what acid does. I just wanted to raise my hand and be like, that isn't what it does. It doesn't feel that way.
I tried to not be that. I tried to not be that guy. I was like, hey, you shouldn't tell the cop right now.
Right.
But he is wrong.
Yeah. Because that's a funny thing that you said about the school bus thing, is they do sometimes, the way they describe acid is like an experience that is impossible for a person to have, Like, you're never going to think you're a school bus. There isn't a drug to take that'll make you think you're a school bus driving down the road.
If there was one, I would like to try that.
I would try it, yeah, of course. I mean,
doing school bus.
Yeah, man, we're taking some school bus tonight. It's gonna be nice.
People just walking down the road and stopping at the corners and stuff.
Yeah, stopping at the standing. You're at the bus stop waiting for a bus to come, and a guy walks up and goes and pretends he's opening a door, and you're like, guy's on school bus.
That guy's school busing hard.
Yeah.
It was weird because I was a fucking kid at the time, and there's this grown man with a fucking police uniform on telling me that like acid is gonna make me feel like a school bus, and I'm like, I've done this and you're wrong. Yeah. You're educating this, and for me it was okay, whatever, I know you're wrong, but there's a classroom full of kids literally listening to him being like, okay, taking notes. And it just, even at that age, it just felt so wrong of like such misinformation.
Yeah, it makes you feel betrayed. I mean, it's like you're not old enough to be an adult, but you know this person is an adult. This person's an authority, and you now know that they're lying. And nobody else know. Like the other people that don't have firsthand experience, like you said, all the other kids are jotting it down, and you're like, this is lies.
Right, and then so the acid was only one part of it. He also then told us, he told a story about, I'm a police officer. One time, I arrested a guy, a junkie, down at the bus stop, and I started searching him. And as I was searching his pockets, like, I felt something prick my finger, and it was a needle. And I ran to, he said, like, I ran to the Walgreens and, like, sanitized my hand and, like, made sure, I tried to make sure it wasn't HIV positive and stuff. And he was like, luckily, I took a test and I wasn't. He said some shit like that, and then it was just like, I don't know, it was just kind of crazy. Like, he said it in a way that he pricked a needle with his finger, and then he said, like, oh, I came up, well, and he said that he came up positive and then later came up negative, which didn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that. I don't think that works like that.
No, it literally doesn't. And I called him out for it.
Oh, wow.
Again, this is 10, 12 years ago. He said that, and I was like that. And he said you could get AIDS from bongs and shit, and it was like this was the school police officer.
Yeah.
For some reason he was qualified to teach our health class about drugs. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Sorry, I know.
It's really weird that they let them say stuff like that, but I think a lot of the teachers have very little experience with drugs too, although a lot of teachers listen to Street Fight. I really feel like teachers mostly do. It would be nice if they would be like, hey, everything that guy just told you was
right.
About 10% maybe true, a little bit. I mean, you can't say that all drugs are great and good and everybody should do them all the time, but you can say that none of them are as dangerous as the police make them sound.
No, it's just funny because, the teacher that let this cop into the classroom was obviously very much on their side. He was very much like, I don't know, he was like the track coach, and he was like an old man that he shouldn't have been, I don't know.
That was ours too.
He was very much like, you're talking in class, I'll meet you by the flagpole. Like, he was kind of like,
yeah. I had a lot of teachers that wanted to fight.
Yeah,
too.
we used to paddle kids like you.
Yeah. I had a teacher.
Exactly.
I had a teacher, Mr. Pottix was his name, which we had fun with, obviously. But like
all right, yeah, you gotta.
They would say that actually, it's funny. The first teacher that taught us about drugs was named Mr. Noble. His name was Richard Noble. And of course, everybody, it was like handed down class by class to call him Dick No Balls.
Dick.
Yeah. It's Dick No Balls over here. There's also a teacher in our school district that always had a heart on. And people called him Boner. And like everybody knew about him all coming up. He was the gym teacher. He wore the little shorts. And like everybody was always like, check it out, Mr. Ewart's boner's sticking out. Hey, nice boner, Ewart. They would yell. And it was always very funny. But like Mr. Pottix was like a veteran. Mr. Pottix was a Vietnam veteran. And he ran detention. And it was rumored.
We all respect him.
Yeah, and it was rumored that he liked running detention. Like he was just like, I'll do the detentions, and he would run detentions, and he would make audio cassettes where he would he would make audio cassettes where he would take pieces of Hank Williams Sr. yodeling
Okay.
which is awesome now. I mean, you know, I got a feeling called the blue. Like, I like that shit.
Yeah.
Now.
We all respect Hank Williams Sr. Yeah, for sure.
But back when I was a kid, I did not have respect for Hank Sr. And he would loop him doing the yodeling part. So it would be like, I got a feeling called the blues. I got a feeling called the blues. I got a... And he would,
okay, that would make me hate that forever.
he would looped that. He made tapes where he looped that and he would play them all the way through detention.
That is torture.
I know the military
That is
uses...
literally torture techniques. That's what they did in Guantanamo. Like, they literally played, like, obnoxious music in Guantanamo that way.
Right, he had a few different tapes, but that's the one I remember is that one.
And that statement, I got a feeling called the blues is also like just really wrecks your mind.
Yeah, it was detention was not fun.
I didn't even go through that, and even just hearing that story right now, I'm kind of like, this is a little bit traumatizing to me.
Yeah, I'm really panicking thinking about sitting in a chair for an hour listening to that.
It was a 45-minute detention.
Yeah, my anxiety's freaking up a little bit.
Right, and he would be like, do your work. You were supposed to work. Oh, no. At in-school suspension, you were supposed to do your work all day. At detention, you weren't allowed to do your work. So, like, I would get detentions.
Honestly, in-school suspension was worse than out-of-school suspension.
100%. It was weird that was the tier below that in punishments when it was like I would.
In-school suspension was kind of marketed as lower tier, right?
Yeah.
But it was way worse.
I got it all the time. I was in in-school suspension every 2 weeks. Just sitting in that stupid room. I also wouldn't do my work in there. So I would just like either go get some book and just sit and read one book all day, but I refused to do homework. They would bring your homework to you, and I would just be sitting in there like, you might as well not even bring that in.
Well, and I'm young, and I'm young enough that it was before the times that we had smartphones. So I was like, I will, in an act of defiance, I will read the encyclopedia before I.
Yeah. You weren't allowed to take restroom breaks. They only gave you 2 restroom breaks a day, and they brought your lunch into you. And every single day I spent in detention, I had it's an emergency. You gotta let me go to the bathroom. And I'd go to the bathroom and I'd smoke. And then I would come back reeking of cigarettes and be like, thank you for allowing me to do that. And sit down. It was just like...
Some guy was out in the parking lot smoking cigarettes while I was out there. It wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, I did it. Yeah. There was somebody... I did always say somebody in the bathroom was smoking while I was in there.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody was smoking in the bathroom while I was there. It wasn't me, okay? You go, why are you accusing me? When I was in school suspension for getting caught smoking in the bathroom. There was this really cool exchange rate, the way my school worked, right? Where it was like, I think it was like once you got 12 detentions, you got in-school suspension, and then you didn't have to serve the detentions. And plus, they couldn't really make you serve the detentions because I would just leave and not go to the detentions. And it was like, well,
like I'm done.
One day of in school is 100% worth not having to do 12 days, you know? So it was that was a nice little exchange they would do for us, which I liked.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling in.
You gotta wiggle your way out of something.
Thanks for calling in. That was fun. It's fun to talk about some of the weird old things.
I appreciate you guys. Been listening for a long time, and I appreciate you. Just wanted to share the story of how dumb cops are.
Oh yeah. We love that.
We all know that.
Yeah, we love hearing it.
Thank you very much, man.
You too.
I'll talk. Man.
Have a good night.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Mr. Poddick's detention. That was a real. It was weird. It was weird that they did it. It was like, who decided on this? You know, like,
there's just I mean, I have such a limited framework in my mind that I only think that I can only, like, the police or somebody needs to thoroughly investigate an old man that is, like, really getting some enjoyment out of making a 45-minute torture tape.
Yes.
Like, that kind of behavior is just like, no. You need to go on vacation. You need to come back with a better attitude, my friend.
Right, and they were just like, hey, man, you got detention. That's for you.
Yeah, he loves it. Or Earl loves it, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, he likes doing detention. So let's just let him do it. And he's got this tape. Maybe it'll keep people out, you know?
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, this is Tim from Redding, California.
What's up, Ken? How are you doing?
Good. Glad to talk to you guys. Big fan. There's a lot of things I want to tell you about. I'm a registered nurse. I work for the VA right now, and I would be smoking weed all the time if I weren't a nurse in the VA, because the federal government kind of cracks down on marijuana use a lot, and they random drug test nurses a lot for marijuana.
How often?
So it'll be a problem until it's off. Yeah. I'm calling about like crazy Trump stuff and COVID stuff in Northern California.
Okay.
Redding's in Shasta County, and Shasta County is like, I think has the third highest infection rate in the state of California, like compared to like Southern and Bay areas. So like it's like a huge Trump stronghold here. Like Trump has even campaigned here, like in 2016. Like there were like major like similar truck convoy rallies or whatever up to the election, and there's just like a huge anti-mask mentality here, and which I think correlates with our infection rates. There was like anti-mask protests at hilariously Trader Joe's, because I think the anti-maskers like figured, well, how can we stick it to the libs the most? Let's do our anti-mask rally at the Trader Joe's.
There's also
that's funny. That is like kind of a funny, like, it's not funny, but they did pick Trader Joe. Like, they didn't go to the State House. They were like, we're gonna really hit the libs where they hurt. Trader Joe's.
There is a lot of the rise of those rich Republicans that only want organic food, though. There's a lot of Trader Joe shoppers too that I'm sure are very fucking Republican. Sorry.
Yeah, Trader Joe's is about as chic as it gets, so they shop there too in Redding.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's even like more bizarre stuff. You remember the Michigan story that some douchebags try like plotting to kidnap the governor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Big Gretch. That's what they call the governor there.
Something similar happened here too. It wasn't like as crazy, but like a bunch of anti-mask, Trump chuds came to a city council because this town's just going nuts with in California we call purple tier, which is the highest tier of COVID implementations for like preventing the spread of COVID. Like purple's the highest, and so there's like just like a lot of pissed people in the city hall, and they're all like chanting like citizens arrest, like trying to like citizens arrest the council members because of don't tread on me kind of type of bullshit we're used to seeing from the right.
Yeah, I mean, they don't respect. I mean, they first of all, we were talking about this last night, me and Brett, but there really isn't an objective reality, it feels, anymore. Like nobody seems to have like the numbers they feel like the numbers are always being fudged, right? So like they don't believe that the coronavirus, and also you can say Also, you can say that COVID isn't happening if you've never met anybody that had it, or you can say 0.01% of people die of it, so it's not a big or whatever they say, you know? But there's always some reason why you're right and everybody's wrong. I don't know if there was ever a time during COVID where I felt like we were all on the same page at all.
No.
Like, it just feels like they were mad right away. Oh, we got to figure out why this is bullshit. Oh, Trump looks bad. You know, we got to, it's probably a political thing. And like, there's no way to get through to those people unless, you know, if your plan was, hey, if you show up at a store without a mask on, we're going to take you to jail. That might work. I'm not for that because I don't think you should be taking people to jail. But like that, short of that, everything is just lip service. It's just, they're not going to listen to fucking anything. If you say it's good for you to wear a mask, they don't care. If they'll say, I'm taking a risk on my own. If you say, well, wearing a mask actually protects other people from you, they'll say, I don't care. People get sick. That's the way that the world is. So I don't know really how to handle these types of people. This Trump world. They've lost the election, yet they think that they've won the election, and they're going to be mad about it forever, it seems. Like they're like a lost people that we're going to have to contend with in the future. And even now, we will always be contending with this group of people. They have been building for years. They figured out how to get some young people on their side with Trump. It was Trump. Because you remember the Tea Party happened, and it was like all, you know, it was like fuddy-duddy old people.
Tri-corner hat wearers.
Wearing tri-corner hats and stuff. But then Trump came in, and he got young people to follow him too. Like, it's all, I don't even know what to do at this point with them. I just know that we're going to have to deal with them, and I don't know how to deal with them.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's frustrating to sometimes argue with these people because I'm a triage nurse at the walk-in VA here in Reading, and you know a lot of these vets here are Trump fellows, and they even got like the Trump mask. See, the VA has like a nationwide policy. If you're in a VA building, you got to wear a mask, and it's pretty strict. And basically every official VA building has like security and VA police. So it's very easy to enforce it, the policy.
Yeah.
And you know, these are all like vet guys, so they kind of like respect it. But it's really funny to, I guess as like a nurse, working as a nurse, I get like some kind of pleasure in enforcing like the card of, well, I'm a medical expert and I'm in charge here, so you need to do what the fuck I say. Put your mask on, or I'll, have the security come over. Sometimes I get away with, some patients will come in very sick and say something like I put like what the pulse ox thing is, a little thing you put on your finger.
Yes.
Like it reads like your oxygen level.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like really low, and it's like, oh, it's because it's really low. You're probably sick. You might have COVID. We might have to isolate you. And it's like, no, it's because I'm wearing this mask. I'm not getting oxygen in. Like sometimes I have to like deal with these mouth breathers and explain it to them that how dumb they are. It's like I guess it's like a little pleasure of dealing with all like these deniers and shit, just to like explain simple like evidence-based science and get away with it because I got like the VI on my back.
The thing that I think about that's really like a thing we could have done is we should have just mailed them antagonistic masks against libs. You know what I mean? Like maybe like I'm not a liberal on the front, or like conservative or Trump, or Trump as Rambo. We should have just mailed them those at the beginning of this thing, and they would have fucking wore them. They would have wore them, and they would have loved it.
Yeah, the post office, they had that. They said they were going to send out masks to everybody. Trump should have stepped in and just made them all Trump masks.
Yeah,
and that would have worked.
Because the libs are going to buy masks anyway. Right. They don't need the Trump masks, but the conservatives will wear the Trump mask if they think it's making some liberal nurse mad at me. Oh, the liberal nurse is mad. He's telling me I might have COVID because I'm wearing my Trump mask. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that really bums me out about. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted Trump to lose the election, is because we definitely need somebody to say, like, hey, wear masks, because a certain amount of people will just listen to the president, you know? Not everybody, but there's a certain amount of people that'll just listen to the president. And if the president had been the person that said it from the beginning, then they would be wearing the fucking things.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing. You mentioned the post office, just an extension of this story I'm telling you about the anti-maskers here in Northern California. So sometimes HIPAA can be frustrating, but you have to like honor. I'm sure you understand why. The fucking mailman, he is like an anti-masker, and at the beginning of all this, back in I think it was March when it was implemented, he would still come into the building and cause like a commotion because he wouldn't wear his fucking mask, and then like come on, buddy, you got to put it on, and he would begrudgingly put it on. But a couple of weeks ago, he came to it's getting bad here in Shasta County. Our numbers are skyrocketing because we're rural, and he comes to the front of the VA. We stop people to swab them, and he's like, "Oh, I'm symptomatic. I want to swab, and I want to know if it's safe for me to go back to work or not." And like we say, well, we won't know for like a couple of hours. You shouldn't go back to work regardless, because we don't want you spreading it. And he's like, "No, I'm going back." And like he didn't have this argument with me. It was a friend of mine, but he just had this big argument about I don't have COVID. I just have like the flu or something. And he left. We didn't swab him because we wouldn't like give him an answer on whether he has it or not. But we told him not to go back to work because he has symptoms, and he's like fucking walking around the community passing mail. I talked to I was so frustrated. I talked to my manager, and I talked to our HIPAA officer about how much of a public health risk this is. And like, the way HIPAA law is, if he was a veteran and he was a patient of our clinic, so therefore I can't say shit. But if he wasn't a veteran or a patient of our VA clinic, I would have totally called the fucking supervisor, the USPS, and say like, this dumb asshole is like a threat to the community. You need to do something. He's like symptomatic, and but that was just that story. That was just like 2 weeks ago here. Just blew my mind. Anyway, that's it. That's the last I want to share with you guys.
Okay. Well, yeah, that sucks. You know, people don't want to leave work either. And we've been saying this since the beginning, since the first lockdown. People are so discouraged from not coming to work, and bosses are 100% pressuring people to work. Even if they say they're symptomatic, they're probably pressuring them to finish work. And it's real fucked.
There was a new outbreak in New Zealand. They a new outbreak that created all these new cases because a boss said, come in and just wear a mask. Like, wait, if you feel sick but you don't have a COVID test yet, just work with a mask. And they had it.
Oh my god. I hate bosses so much. Well, thanks for calling in. You hang up?
All right, thanks, fellas.
Oh, have a good night.
Yeah, have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right, Brett.
That's the call.
We're going to go home. We're going to go home early tonight. Have a good night.
Actually early.
Well, I'll probably get there at the same time. Well, maybe not. I don't know. You know me.
We are sorry, but the show has ended.
But that's
Goodbye.
true. That's true. The show has ended. Thank you, computer voice machine.
That's Street Fight Radio. That's the call-in show. Thank you to everybody that called in. It was a good one. We'll be back next week. We're looking for call-in sick voices, right?
Yeah, next Sunday, prizes. We're going to have prizes.
Win what? A tin of caviar?
No. I mean, if you want to order that. We'll have prizes, though. We're going to want you to call in next Sunday. Give us your call-in sick voice. Maybe give us a good call-in. We're going to grade them on accuracy, and we're going to grade them on comedic value. So if you want to do an accurate one, you can still win. If you want to do a funny one, you can still win. But call in next Sunday, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna call off sick
on Street Fight Radio. We'll see you on Wednesday. The Basement Show's happening this Wednesday. You can watch it live around 11 p.m. on Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time. If you want to watch video content from us, that's on Patreon. Also, the zine. And Shocktober 2, the wrap-up show, just happened on Friday. It's officially over. Shocktober 2 is done. So head to patreon.com/streetfightradio to give it a listen.
Holy Boys this Friday.
New Holy Boys. Pastor Carl Lentz, and who else? Anybody else?
I'm looking into it. Probably some Kenneth Copeland, and I like Benny Hinn, so
Okay.
we'll probably look at some Benny Hinn too.
Perfect. Street Fight Radio is live every single Wednesday and Sunday night. We'll see you then. Peace.